Okay, we go to play games.
All right then. Okay, I'm nervous.
Because there are many foreigners like us live in Taiwan for a long time.
Yep.
So someone compile the top 10, like the top 10 reasons why people fall in love with Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
before we see the answer on the board, you need to give me 3 reasons that, in your opinion.
Oh, in my opinion, or on here?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, right. Oh, I'm glad it's just my opinion. I thought you were going to ask me to guess the list. 3 reasons to fall in love with Taiwan. Okay, probably the first reason.
Is
Are you trying to guess?
no, you.
But it's probably going to be like a long answer. I think that Taiwan has got some really beautiful natural places. You know, whether it's hiking in the mountains, or going to some beautiful beaches in Penghu, for example, or going to the East Coast in like Taidong and doing some surfing, some of that kind of stuff. I think Taiwan is quite a beautiful place, and for me, that's a wonderful attraction. I live out in the countryside, so being able to have like a 30-minute ride to get into the mountains and very quiet, hear some sort of natural sort of sounds, it's quite lovely. So for me, probably it's quite a beautiful place. I think maybe the government should do more to promote Taiwan as being a really beautiful destination to visit, rather than shopping and night markets, that kind of stuff. I think there's probably more to it in that way. That's
Okay.
one.
Number 2.
Number 2, I think Aboriginal indigenous culture in Taiwan is quite special. It's quite wonderful, actually. And I was very surprised when I first came to Taiwan. I didn't know what to expect, really. I expected like Taipei City, high-speed trains, these kind of things is what I imagined. But what I wasn't really prepared for was there is some local, unique, indigenous culture to Taiwan that is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And I'll often refer to Mainong because it's kind of fairly close to where I live. But you're going to go to like Sandimen or something like that, and you get a real feeling of something that's quite unique, quite special, quite different to Taiwan. And I've traveled a lot across the Pacific. I've been to New Zealand, I've been to the Cook Islands, I've been to some other sort of Pacific places, and it feels very similar. A lot of the buildings, a lot of the dances, a lot of the clothing, it feels very Pacific Island. And it is beautiful, it's wonderful, and I really, again, strongly feel that, Taiwan could really promote this indigenous, Aboriginal culture that's very, very different, very special, very unique. Yeah, it's wonderful. So I think beautiful and indigenous culture, wonderful features of Taiwan that I love very much. Yeah. And the third, there's one more. Okay. Well, I don't know. That's there's lots of reasons. Maybe whilst I think about one more, maybe you can give me one of yours, and then let me think of another one. How about you? And I'll think of my last thought.
Maybe friendly people. Yeah, and because I come to Taiwan, and a lot of things that I didn't know, and my friend, my classmate, my teacher teach me a lot. Yeah, and they didn't care where I come from. Yeah. I think that's quite an interesting point. I think maybe, I think there's quite a lot of curiosity and a lot of interest in different types of people here in Taiwan, right? There's quite an often, people are quite curious to know where I'm coming from. They obviously know I'm not Taiwanese. Often
especially young kids, or kids will often ask me some questions about where I'm from, or they'll want to practice a bit of their English. They're quite lovely in that way. It's quite friendly in many cases, I would agree. Yeah.
So you think it's friendly?
Yeah, all right, then I'll go with friendly. I'll go with
Okay.
friendly, yeah, that's fine for me, yeah, for sure.
Okay, we will check the answer.
All right then, okay, I'm worried.
Motorcycle culture.
Motorcycle culture.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we think about, you mean like scooter culture? I don't know about that, right? Is that a wonderful, I think having the freedom to travel around the island on a scooter, yeah, I think I totally agree with that.
Because you have been to Vietnam before. Right?
Well, I've been to loads of countries that use scooters and as a mode of transport, but I also see how people ride scooters in the cities, and they make me a little bit nervous. Yeah. So yeah, the freedom to be able to explore, I think, is wonderful. I would agree with that, but maybe a bit of more safety-mindedness, a bit more caution would be quite wonderful.
Yes.
Wow, okay, that's a surprise. I wasn't expecting number one. Okay, yeah, great. I'll take that.
Number
yeah.
two is, is your answer?
I would agree for sure. What do you think? Do you think Taiwan's quite beautiful?
Because I didn't go much
Oh,
place.
Sarah, come on, really?
Yes.
Do you ride a scooter?
Yes. But when I go to Wenzao, go
Yeah.
to Kaohsiung, my friends have me a lot of places.
Okay,
But when I in Taoyuan,
yeah.
never. Because my mom and dad said, "Oh, it's so dangerous.
Oh, what?
You cannot go." Anyway.
Listen, you could get 45 minutes outside of Kaohsiung and you'd never believe that there was a city of 2 million people just next to you,
Yes,
right? It's
yes.
definitely doable. You absolutely, everybody that I speak to, Taiwan really should be encouraging that natural beauty. It's number one, forget shopping, forget night markets. That is something that's super special about Taiwan, I think.
Okay, number three is markets and food.
Markets and food. I think that's kind of a stereotype, right? I think that there's lots of different foods. I think everybody knows about stinky tofu. I think everybody knows about, some of the different sorts of foods in Taiwan. But I think Taiwan is much more than this kind of stereotypes of food. I think you could find some amazing food, just going to like a small town in the countryside, go to have some hot pot or something like that, really delicious. I think it's a good reason. I think the Taiwanese food is generally pretty delicious, but I think everybody talks about that, right? Everybody says that, stinky tofu, bubble tea. I think Taiwan's more than those things. I don't need to see another YouTube video of somebody saying, "Hey, come to Taiwan and try stinky tofu." I don't need to see that. I want to see some different kind of things.
So do you like to eat stinky tofu?
No, not really, not at all. Bubble tea I'll drink all day. That's fine, but stinky tofu, not something that I'm super excited about. Maybe often people will talk to me a little bit about what are some of the differences between British people and Taiwanese people. It's a common question that I get asked. And I often use food as an example of that. And I'll often say about how British people, as a stereotype generally, if the food looks good, we're going to eat it, right? We'll eat it. But if it doesn't look good, we're not so excited to try it, right? So often we're thinking about our eyes, the first sort of appearance, right? Whereas I think in Taiwan, often it's about how important something tastes. The taste is much more important than how food can look. And the example that I often give is chicken's feet, right? Now, my wife loves chicken's feet. She really enjoys them, and lots of people in Taiwan do. And she often tells me how delicious they are. They're really amazing, really taste great. But when I look at chicken's feet, a chicken's foot, brown and a bit wrinkly and stuff, I don't want to eat that. You could tell me it's like eating heaven. You could tell me that. I'm not so interested because it doesn't look so great. And so, for me, if my wife was to take all of the meat off the foot, put that on a plate, and just give me the meat and say there's some chicken. Oh, it's delicious. It's great, right? But because it's on a foot, oh my goodness!
Yes.
And so what she'll sometimes do is she'll take a foot, and sometimes there'll be some nails, and she'll bite the nails like that. And then she'll try and maybe give me a kiss or something. And I'm like, oh, get away, that's horrible. Just, I don't, that's so grim, right? And so, you know, I think food is quite a subjective sort of idea that I think Taiwan has got some interesting food. I think some cultural differences are quite exciting. And I think Taiwan is much more than stinky tofu and bubble tea. That's kind of how I think about that. How about you?
Bubble tea is good, but I don't like it.
Is there any kind of...
Because it's too not unhealthy, you know.
Okay, yeah. So you drink it, but you just don't drink it too much, right?
Yes.
What about night market food? Do you go to night markets and eat a lot of food and stuff?
Because I'm a vegetarian.
A vegan?
A vegan.
Okay, right, sure.
So I can eat any food in the night market.
Yeah, you're not sure how it's been prepared, right? So
but
does that...
Stinky tofu is good. Because I have some friends from Hong Kong.
Okay.
And they said that in Hong Kong the stinky tofu is black. Yeah, it's black. And they say that it is not taste it no, not good.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Black stinky tofu.
Black.
Ooh. No, okay, no, I wouldn't even want to try that either. Yeah, you know. So sometimes, you know, in a night market for me, when there's like a stinky tofu stall, I'll have to take a and then walk past it and then okay, that's fine. Let's carry on. Let's see what other food that we can eat. I'll sometimes have to do that. Yeah.
It's like me when the first year come to Taiwan, and my dad said, it's so delicious. You could try it. And so no. But the second year, my dad always, oh, this delicious. You could try that. And he said to me every day.
All right.
Yeah. So I okay. And when I first tried it, okay, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, good for you. I've tried it. I still don't like it.
Okay.
All right, then let's have a look at the next one.
Culture.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. I think that, you know, when I think about Taiwan, as a Taiwanese culture, I more often comes to mind Aboriginal culture. I think indigenous communities, indigenous language, indigenous food, indigenous music, song. It's wonderful. It's something that's really special to Taiwan. I really appreciate it a lot. Yeah.
In Taiwan, have a lot of temples.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Temple every day.
Yeah. I in where I live, there's probably like 4 or 5 temples quite close. Often sort of boom, 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 sort of music and things like that, and interesting things that are happening. It's great. It's a really interesting part of living in Taiwan. Yeah, for sure. It's a bit unpredictable. Sometimes I'm never sure what is going to happen. Some Saturday morning at 6 o'clock, I can hear the temple going, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know why that's happening, but it's happening. That's okay. But I think Taiwan should promote its culture much more. Actually, I think you should really do that for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think we have like an indigenous center here at Wenzao, right, that promotes Aboriginal culture and I should be applauded and should be encouraged even more. Yeah, I love it.
So you go to temple before?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not, particularly averse. I enjoy going to temples. I like seeing different attitudes towards religion. I like seeing how other people understand the world around them. So yeah, I think it'd be impossible to live in Taiwan to not go in a temple or visit a temple, but not to appreciate that actually for a big part of the population, it's an important part of the community, right? There's lots of things that happen at these temples, and enjoy it rather than complain about it. Yeah. How about you?
Never go to temple.
You never been in a temple or anything like that?
No, maybe it's sometime in my life. It's sometimes.
Sure.
When I go to temple, I could go with my dad and
Yeah.
my mom.
Yeah.
Because in that place is too much people.
Oh, okay.
I don't like too much people.
Oh, right, right. Oh, yeah. So, like the Lunar New Year, going to the temple there and then, getting your sort of the lucky animal and walking over the smoke and over the bridge and having your head dotted, that kind of thing. For me, I have 2 young children, so I want them to be able to explore as much of Taiwanese culture as possible. So that means visiting temples for sure for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
Living expenses. So I guess maybe what? So Taiwan's cheap, I guess, is maybe the idea they want to say? Maybe?
Yeah, maybe it's cheap.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, really. I'm not sure. When I think it can be. I think it can be but for example, if I want, I'm not sure about that really. I think it's no more or less expensive. I think if I want to go to a supermarket and buy some food, I feel that it's as expensive as it would be in the UK. But if I was to go to like a morning market, a vegetable market in the morning, then sure, I could definitely get some cheaper food or cheaper ingredients there. And I think, you could go to some restaurants where the food is pretty cheap. I think you could certainly do that. But a lot of my students are concerned about paying rent and being able to rent somewhere to live, or just general sort of living costs. A lot of my students who graduate, they find that quite difficult. They still live at home because it's quite expensive to live independently, right? So maybe depends on where you are, where you come from. That could be the case.
And maybe where you live.
Yeah, for sure.
In the countryside, maybe it's more cheap than in the country.
Yeah, living in Taipei is not cheap, right?
Yeah. It's so expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine that. A lot of people will say that Kaohsiung's a bit cheaper than Taipei, but I don't know. I feel that it's quite expensive, generally speaking. I guess maybe if I was coming from England, maybe my perception might be that Taiwan is cheaper. But if you live in Taiwan for an extended period of time, like you and I do, I'm not too sure it is cheaper in some ways. Maybe, yeah.
Okay, the next. Safety.
Yeah. Okay, I think personal safety. Maybe not road safety, but I think personal safety. I think. I can understand that. But I also have to remember that I'm a pretty big white guy. I feel safe in most situations anyway, right? But if I was to imagine my daughter walking around, I'd feel more comfortable. Maybe you'll feel a little bit safer here in Taiwan than maybe walking in some places in the UK. Or if I was going to compare London to Taipei, I don't think there's anywhere in Taipei that I would feel frightened about. Whereas in London, I'm sure there are places where I would avoid going, definitely. So I could agree with that. How about you?
I think it's safety too. Because I'm from Vietnam. And if you go out and you just look at your cell phone, in Vietnam it's danger.
Oh, is that right? Because someone's going to come and take it?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And maybe your motorcycle, you cannot park on the streets. Yeah,
all right.
In Vietnam,
Because it's going to get stolen?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
But in Taiwan, it's okay.
So maybe I guess I've done this myself many times where I've been riding my scooter and I've left the keys in the scooter.
Yes.
And I've come back and the scooter's still there. Almost always the keys are there, but sometimes the keys have been taken out and they're being put in the front pocket, so people can't see it and that kind of idea. But no one's stolen they've kind of helped me or something in some of those ideas. I can't imagine that happening in England.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I always leave my key on my scooter.
All right.
Yeah, and I think it's lucky when I live in Taiwan. Yeah.
I think so. I would agree with that. So I think that's a fair point. But I guess also, maybe ideas of safety might be a little bit different for men and for women as well, right? You know, women's safety, I can't speak for, but I imagine that it would be safer for a woman in Taiwan than maybe in the UK, for example, or parts of the UK. Maybe. Yeah, okay, that's a good reason.
Okay.
Safety, yeah, sure. Taiwanese. What does Taiwanese mean? What does that mean?
Maybe it's kindly, friendly, and yeah, they also have a lot of foreigner. They maybe your culture. They think, oh, okay, I can learn your culture. I can try.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some truth in that. I think that it's an interesting part of Taiwanese culture, this curiosity. You know, if we were to go to England, nobody would really care about us, right? Everyone just kind of goes about their day. There's nothing special or unique about seeing someone from Vietnam in the streets in London, right? No one's going to be interested in talking to you, or not because they're horrible, but because it's a pretty common kind of sight. Whereas I guess, there's not as many international visitors here in Taiwan. There's not a huge international population. So, maybe there is a bit of curiosity about that, which is quite interesting. It's and sometimes it can be quite enjoyable when people are asking you a little bit about where you're from and what your background is. That can be quite nice, that curiosity about others, yeah, for sure.
And sometimes they also ask me that, oh, how long have you been here? And why your Chinese is good, or something like that.
They'll ask the standard questions, right? Do you love Taiwan? What food have you eaten in Taiwan? They'll often ask those same sort of standard questions. Yeah, that's a pretty common kind of thing. But I don't know, in Vietnam, would a Vietnamese person walk up to an international visitor and ask them similar questions?
Yes.
Okay, sure. So it's similar.
Yeah, similar.
So in England, I'm sorry, Sarah, you're just not that special. You're not that special. You're just going to go and live your life, and I'll live my life in that way. So maybe that is a good feature. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So next, convenient transportation.
Convenient transportation. I guess if you live in Taipei, okay, that's great. Well, the MRT is great. I don't know about the buses or anything like that. Kaohsiung, convenient transportation? It's getting better, I think, but I'd still rather have a scooter than rely on a bus or the MRT here. HSR is pretty convenient. Trains are pretty convenient. But is it convenient? What do you think? I'm not too sure if I agree that that's a great reason to love Taiwan. What do you think? Living in Taipei, I can understand that.
Yeah, maybe in Taipei it's okay, but when you live in another city, it's not okay.
Maybe you have to kind of make the most of that. But I don't use the buses very much in Kaohsiung, so I can't really speak for that. But I think the most convenient transportation is a scooter. I think, or maybe a U-bike or something like that would be super convenient. But I guess I can imagine in Taipei, if I was to live there, then yeah, that's great. Get anywhere in the city that you like on the MRT, right? Yeah, okay. What's it like in Hanoi? Is it convenient to get around in Hanoi?
Oh, I'm from Ho Chi Minh City.
Oh, okay, sorry, my mistake. So what's it like then in the south? Is it easy to get around?
Ho Chi Minh City is transportation is only scooter, and the same as Taiwan. I don't want to waste my time to waiting a bus.
Right, sure.
And bus in Vietnam is too fast.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great, isn't it?
No, it's not right, because a lot of scooter on the street. And
okay.
Still fast. It is so horrible,
Oh, okay, right. Yeah. So for me in York, it's bus or nothing. Bus or walk, really. We don't have any scooters or anything like that. Bus or maybe ride a bike, pedal bike. So public transport, so for sure, if I was going to compare living here to my hometown, yeah, for sure, it's pretty convenient. But you go to somewhere like London, it's just like Taipei. Everywhere is really well connected. It's really easy to pay for these different things. It makes a lot of sense in that way. Yeah, for sure.
So it depends on your life.
Yeah, I think so. I think probably this list would probably assume Taipei, I imagine. Yeah.
Okay.
Convenience stores. I just read what it was like. Taiwan's just had like the 7,000th 7-Eleven has just opened this week in Taiwan, I think, right? In all of America, they've only got 4,000. And in Taiwan, we've got 7,000. It's incredible. Lots of convenience stores. I think the convenience stores themselves aren't that isn't really what's interesting for me. What's interesting is what you can do in those convenience stores. When I think about a convenience store in the UK, it's, buying drink, buying chocolate, buying magazines. It's just, just to get some convenient sort of snack food. Whereas a convenience stores here, you buy tickets for concerts, tickets for trains, pay parking insurance, get deliveries from Shopee. Amazing kind of idea. So that idea of convenience, I think, is wonderful. 24/7 in the most parts. Yeah, for sure. But having so many convenience stores selling Coke doesn't really interest me, but being able to do pretty much anything you want is wonderful. Yeah, I quite like that a lot.
I like the convenience store in Taiwan too. Yeah, in Vietnam, we cannot pay a lot of things, and Shopee, we cannot have a Shopee.
Yeah, sure.
So convenience store in Vietnam, we only buy something to eat.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can sleep at them.
Oh, right. Right. Okay, all right. So you mean you sleep at a little table, or you have like a special chair?
It's up to you.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so I guess it's similar. Yeah, I think sleep is really funny. I think it's a funny thing, Sarah, that where I'm from in England, the idea of sleeping in public is a very unusual thing. And that sleeping is normally done at home and in private, right? Now, you could go on the tube, on the equivalent of the MRT, or on a train, and you may see some people, with their head on the window sleeping. You may see that, but you would never see someone sleeping in a convenience store. You'd never see that. Or you could go to like a Starbucks or to a cafe, and you'll see people kind of just sleeping like it's some sort of hotel, sort of. In England, that would be so strange to do that. It'd be really such a strange thing to do. So I'm still surprised when you say sleeping in a 7-Eleven. I think, come on, no one sleeps in a 7-Eleven. Then I have to remember, lots of people do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you can do so much. Maybe not sleeping isn't high on my list, but the ability to be able to do so much in these shops is amazing. And I often think about what it would be like to work at a 7-Eleven, and a lot of people think it's kind of a pretty easy job. But you have to be able to you have to know how to use all of the iBond machine. You have to be able to know how to print all this kind of stuff. There's lots of technology that these workers have to be able to understand. And I'm not sure I'd be able to learn that so quickly, to be honest. I think they're kind of amazing that way, as well as, look after a store. Yeah, I like those convenience stores for sure.
Okay, the last one.
Here we go. Is there one more? Is this the last one? Okay, sure.
The last one. Be yourself.
Okay. So when you see be yourself, what comes to your mind?
Maybe in Taiwan, I can wear the one. No one see as you, look at you and say, oh, why you wear like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But in Vietnam, they did.
Is that right?
Yes.
Right. So they're looking at you, and they're thinking about your clothes, and they're thinking about you.
Yes.
So does that mean that in Vietnam you dress differently to here in Taiwan?
Maybe because in Vietnam, the Vietnamese girl always want them look beauty.
Okay.
Yeah, when they walk out.
Okay.
But in Taiwan, it's I don't care much about it.
Okay, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's great. I think that's
and in Taiwan, I can speak my Vietnamese. No one care, and no one says, why you speak your language in my country? Or,
sure.
In Vietnam, you also can do this.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you talk with your friend in English or Chinese, maybe a lot of them you look at you. They're just curious about.
Oh right, sure.
Yeah, but it makes me feel so.
A bit awkward, right? Yeah, but I can understand that. Yeah, I think you're right. I also think that when I first read that Be Yourself, I often think a little bit about LGBTQ. These kind of attitudes towards, love who you want, live who you want. Most people are able to do that in Taiwan, I think. And I think that's it. Yeah, I can understand the idea of being yourself and not and having the environment that allows people to be able to live like that. I think that's quite a wonderful idea. Yeah, for sure.
Because I live in Ho Chi Minh City.
Okay.
So, in my hometown, LGBTQ is also accepted.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And everyone says, it's okay. But if you live in Hanoi, maybe it's not.
Maybe not as easy, right? Yeah, for sure. I think Taiwan's pretty wonderful in a lot of, compared to a lot of countries close to us, where this idea of being yourself, I think, is kind of important, right?
So I think maybe when I live in Taiwan, I have the same thing that when I live, the same feeling. Yeah. That the same that I was living in Vietnam.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Because it's so kindful and it's so open, everyone open mind.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think most people, I guess are quite similar in, I don't know, maybe more similar to the UK than other places, perhaps. That most people, you just live your life, right? You do what you want to do. If it's not causing any problems, if it's not harming anybody, then have a good time, enjoy that, right? I think that's how most people want to generally live, right? I don't mind how you live, you don't mind how I live. Yeah, just be yourself. I think I can understand that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been lovely.
That's it. The end of our talk show today.
Okay.
Alright, see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye.